Statistically, do you and I need to be worried about inspections, enforcement, or regulatory work that we're doing with local homes or businesses or other members of the public? Should we feel vulnerable as we deal with members that are upset, community members, the members of the public that are upset or feel entitled to different thoughts or different processes than we provide? I do not have to tell you about the dangers in our communities as you provide enforcement work, inspections, regulatory oversight, and maintaining those important standards in our community. A recent FBI study of violence told us that it's on the rise. They did a great study over a 14-year period that gave us lots of points and lots of things to look at relative to current trends and those kind of things. And they're telling us that you and I need to focus just a little bit more on this relative to the incidents that have actually occurred. You and I need to do a little bit of training. You and I need to not just rely on what we think might happen, but we need to be challenged just a little bit to be prepared for those unlikely events. But if they do occur, our brains need that material. Violence is something that you and I need to talk about as professionals in government work, corporate work, as well as utilities work. When we're out and about in our local cities or counties or our states, you and I need to be preparing our minds for these possible events, not to be afraid of them, but just to get prepared should an unlikely event occur. And then there's even just the difficulties, the challenges. Save ourselves some stress or prevent things from happening. Those are important things for you and I to look at and to talk about, and necessities for us to train about. Oftentimes, we're members of groups that don't get this kind of training, or people tend to forget about us needing these kinds of discussions or networking opportunities, if you will, on the topic of violence and on the topics of difficulties or people in crisis as well. Hi, my name is Joe Puckett. I'm the creator and instructor of this Street Safety and Survival course. I am a former law enforcement member, someone who has enforced, inspected, helped people to conform to standards just like you. You do not have an easy time of doing your work in interacting with members of the public in your local communities. And I know it becomes dangerous, especially many of you are working alone or you're outnumbered by those folks that you deal with as you do your very important work. You are the reason I created this course. I want to share my experiences, my knowledge, the things that I've studied with you. I'm not egotistical about this stuff. I know that I do not know everything, but I want to share information with you. I don't want those knowledge bits, pieces that I have to go to waste. I want to share those with you, and this training is an opportunity for me to do that, to share my opinions, to share my studies, those kind of knowledge with you, and let you pick and choose things that are important to you based on your experience, based on your abilities, and based on the work that you do. Picking and choosing from that, that's the gold that we need. According to many of these studies, including the FBI study that I talked about, you and I need to talk about this stuff. We need to get things added to our mind. We need to share other people's knowledge and have new resources and or new plans and challenge that mind, exercise that mind in case these kind of things happen. And in this course, I want to talk about one of the most important questions that does not oftentimes get discussed. And we usually separate customer service and communication away from the idea of your safety, and we make it two separate things. But I see that there's a point that it comes together, and I want to explore that a little bit with you because it's so important. Your habit every day is customer service. Overall, our mission is to try to improve things for people and try to help them and solve these issues as we regulate and enforce and maintain standards in our community. But realistically, those come together at one point if you encounter some sort of violent situation. So in this training, I want to talk about when does customer service stop and your escape begin? When does that happen? And there's a point where you and I need to discuss that because otherwise your habit is stick with the customer service, and you will stick with it too long. So very important for me that we have that discussion, and we will inside of this training course. In this training course, we are going to talk about things like evaluating what you see and hear. I want to help you to react sooner and give you confidence in what you're seeing and what you should do about that. Many of us have had those times where, in simple terms, should I call 911? Should I call somebody for this? And I want to improve that confidence with you. I want to give you a quicker decision so that you are safer as you're out and about in your community. Yeah, I want to talk about your vehicles and street survival. Many of you are in those marked vehicles, which are good for some points of your work, but other times they make us stand out. So I don't want to be afraid of that, and that's not a bad thing. You need those vehicles and you need those markings on those vehicles at times, but I want to talk about some of the other things that just might improve our safety relative to those vehicles. Your approaches to people, homes, businesses, other locations, I want to talk about those things just to statistically make us safe. I don't want to make you a police officer. I don't want to talk about anything creepy or those kind of issues, but I want to talk about some things that could make us safer. And again, I'm giving you items that I want you to pick and choose from. What might work for you, what doesn't work for you. Stances when dealing with people, another safety area that we don't oftentimes talk about. Communication with difficult people and those in crisis. Dealing with mentally ill persons will also be some discussion, as well as we want to talk about current violence trends and so many more items within this training course, hours of material that you can do, by the way, at your convenience. You sign up for it, you have a year to take the course, and I want you to have lots of information, and as you have time, you can do it in 5-minute bite-sized pieces or spend a little bit more time if you have that within your schedule. Maybe a rainy day or a cold day, we could spend a little bit more time doing this training, which is so valuable. I hope you join me for this training opportunity while it's open for registration. You can train with me and take this course via your computer, your laptop, your tablet, even your smartphone. So I want to invite you in, register for this course. Let's talk about tools, tactics, some different things that we can do to improve, just some ideas that I want to bounce off of you in this training to try to help improve you. I want to help you thrive and survive, especially in these difficult areas of work that you do with difficult people, and certainly in times that appear to be getting more and more violent or more and more difficult. So I hope you'll join me now for this important training topic.